So welcome to my channel, and today I'm giving you a full update of facts that has been made known to the public about the Super TV CEO's murder. We are going to be viewing various interviews and contradicting statements that has been made by this alleged murderer, Chidinma, and I will just want you to take your time to view these two videos and the comparison of the narrative in these two videos to make your own judgment about the situation. And I will give you much more information about the statement released by the family and just some evidence we have in store and what is expected maybe within the next few weeks to conclude the investigation, because as at now the Nigerian police has not charged her to court for any crime because they are still gathering evidence. And this is because this whole situation is a bit complicated. How a 21-year-old girl was able to overpower a healthy looking 49-year-old man. The whole situation is a bit complicated, and now conspiracy theories have been evolving from one thing to the other. But we're not going to dwell on the conspiracies because I do not believe we should. But we'll get on the facts and what we think about this whole situation from the little investigation I've done. What is my perception about what is going on? So this first video that you'll be looking at is her first narration when she was first interviewed, when this news broke. I want you to pay attention to how she said she overpowered him and the whole situation that led to her killing him. And I will show you another video and what she said in that video. I want you to try and pinpoint the difference and the inconsistency in her story.
The door, it would draw me back, and that was what happened.
You know, what prompted you to do so? And
Three times,
yes. What prompted you to do so?
The first one was both. The first one was twice the distance. The first one on the neck side. That was the first one. And then when I stabbed him the first one twice, I threw the knife on the bed. Then he was going for it while I went for it. So while I laid on the bed, that's when he came on me to hold the knife, and that's when I managed to stab him with the knife. And then when he dragged the knife from me, he managed to slice my hand. And then as he was holding it, the knife broke, so it slipped off from his hand. I still managed to hold to it, but then it was now weak, and then he fell on the floor.
From the first interview, she said that this man allegedly wanted to have his way with her, and she was trying to defend herself. He locked her inside the room so she could not escape, and she went to the kitchen to grab a knife, and that was when the attack happened. I want you to listen closely to this other narrative of the whole incident and what led to his death. It was no longer attempted rape. This interview is from the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, hear how she overpowered him from this narrative. The first was self-defense. She had the knife. He was trying to force himself on her, and the attack happened. Hear the narrative from this interview.
It's still from him, but it was not allowing me to, so we got into a fight, and that was when I stabbed him. I tied his hands, so that at that time he was sleeping. I tied his hands so that by the time he wakes up, he'll be able to give me what I want, and I'll go. We were fighting. My hands, the knife was at the back. I was leaning at the cabinet. That was when I stabbed him. On the neck.
So now in this interview, he was not trying to force himself on her. She wanted to steal from him. He didn't agree. They got into a fight. He slept off. She tied his hands behind his back, right? And that was when she attacked him. But then notice she said that they were in a fight. How are you in a fight with somebody when you've tied their hands. Okay, let's say he got himself loose, then they started fighting. But now he was not trying to rape her. He just didn't want to be robbed. And notice she said, I tied him up so that I would get what I wanted to get from him. Maybe it was at the point of the tie up that she got his ATM and his PIN. That would be my guess. Now the interviewer asked her how many times she stabbed him. Here her response compared to her previous response in the first interview.
How many stabs?
I didn't count. I was on drugs, and also during the struggle that he was trying to strangle me. That was when I used the knife.
Previously, in the first interview, she knew how many times she stabbed him.
The first one was both. The first one was twice. The instance, the first one on the neck side. That was the first one. And then when I stabbed him the first one twice, I threw the knife on the bed. Then he was going for it while I went for it. So while I laid on the bed, that's when it came on me to hold the knife.
And notice in the second interview with NTA, he's tried to strangle her. Here, he was reaching for the knife.
So don't you think if you had asked him, please, sir, or my love, after you called him, I need money from you for this, do you think he would have been so stingy not to give to you?
No, he wouldn't.
I'm going to you. Why did you say so?
I asked him, but he said he didn't have.
Before you went to
So with the interviewer from NTA, she said that she asked him for money, but he wouldn't give her. But in her previous interview, I want you to hear how she got access to his ATM PIN.
I was like, you don't help me, you don't assist me in anything, but yet you just playing with me around. And then he was like, oh, okay, take my ATM and can go and withdraw what you want. And then he said the thing. I was like, that's not what I mean, that's not what I meant. So
This killer's narrative about him giving her his ATM card and ATM PIN is just a bit preposterous, given that mobile banking is everywhere and he could have transferred the money to her if he wanted to. So he felt like she must have gotten that information from him under duress, given that there is a limit to the money you can withdraw from an ATM machine. So why will he give her his ATM card? It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't add up. So reports emerged earlier in the week that the family believed that more than one person was involved in the murder. A rope suspected to have been used to tie his hands were reportedly found inside the Shortlet's lodging apartment in that Lekki area. They said that he died a horrific death. He was not stabbed 2 or 3 or even 5 times. He was stabbed multiple times. His hands were bound tightly and the marks were still all over his wrists, accompanied with evidence of torture and assault with blood stains on the wall and floor. They said that one person could never have carried this out from their perspective. So they also said that no one in the entire building heard his scream because he was gagged. Let that sink in. He was bound, gagged, and tortured. Now there's a viral video of the room with the deceased lying on the floor. It was just too much for it to be the job of one person. And his childhood friend, one Douglas Aniemena, said that the brutal and gory nature of his body, the amount of stab wounds, bruises, bound marks, and other inevitable torture marks on his body. So this friend also said he was shocked that he would use such a place even if he wanted to hang out with her, that he had a place in VGC he could have used, and apart from his home in Banana Island, Ikoyi. He said he has multiple friends who own hotels and shortlet apartments in the same Lekki Phase 1 area and even in the neighboring Ikoyi that would have availed him facilities if he needed or asked. So why would he go to someone else's, a stranger's shortlet apartment that somebody else booked? So this narrative is a bit confusing to people that know him. And this friend also said that the only reason that makes even the remote sense to him was that he went there to meet what he would have thought were investors or business partners. Given all this, they felt that there was need for more investigation. So this video you are seeing right now is just the day they spent before this guy was murdered. If you look closely into the video, you'll see them at the restaurant just chilling and sitting down. It doesn't seem like there was any animosity between them, just between the closeness of their interaction. So this guy felt a bit safe and comfortable in her presence. So maybe there is a relationship between them, contrary to what his friend said, that maybe he went there for a business transaction, because the video that has been made available shows that these two people probably had some sort of relationship. They seem to be quite comfortable with each other. Now they are leaving that venue, that restaurant, and that is the last video of Mr. Agata alive. Now going back to the very start, this girl's name is not Chidinma Ojukwu. Her sister came out to say that her name is Chidinma Blessing Ojukwu, and she ran away from home when she was 11 years old because she was reprimanded for smoking. So she was apparently sent to her uncle's house to live, but was sent out because she did not change. So the supposed father, who was arrested by the police, is a strange phenomenon because her father died when she was just 2 years old. The thing that is quite unbelievable about this story is like the parents claim they've not seen her for the last 10 years but have made no attempt to search for her. So the man she has been living with him since he was 11 years old. So now you are looking at the case of grooming and coercion. This is getting even more complicated than you imagine. So if you remember the first time the story came out of her arrest, it was also mentioned that her father was arrested. So who is this father that was arrested, given that her father is said to have died when she was 2 years old? This story just gets more complicated. It's like a web of lies that you just keep getting entangled in. So new video has emerged about what her life used to be like before this whole situation occurred. This video was released in 2019, so she will have been about 18 years then, and she was a video vixen for an upcoming Nigerian musical artist who later gave an interview about his knowledge of How to Arise TV.
The Chidinma that I know is totally different from the Chidinma that is being castigated and criticized every day on the social media. The Chidinma that I know is a friend of mine. She's a nice person, she's kind, and she's supportive. She's my classmate and my coursemate as well. She doesn't really like talking much to people. We're a part-time student though, and our school fees is quite high, on the high side. So she was like, she's trying to do some jobs so she can get some money and, for her academics and all that. I haven't seen Chidinma this year. I haven't seen her this year. Last time I saw her was on her birthday. That was sometimes last year. Seen in my video, Anita, and Chidinma is a nice person. Well, looking at the way everything is, and even I watched the video on the social media, I felt like the Chidinma I know, I felt like probably there's more to it. Maybe they made her to say what actually she shouldn't have said, because thinking about it sometimes, sometimes when I'm alone on my own, I wonder maybe her life was in danger and she was
probably going to be the most intriguing story I've heard in a while, because the inconsistencies, the conspiracy, the lies are just so endless. You're just caught in it. As you're finding one out, another one is just occurring. It's a really, really, really bizarre case, I can tell you. But Nigerians are having a swell time with this whole situation. She has become a trending topic online. I just needed to bring you some clarifications because I know a lot of things have been going on. But I like to do my research before I just publish and post anything. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, so I will have an educated discussion about the happenings in the country.